good.
Oh my gosh.
This is the 2025 Ford Maverick Lobo, and man, does it have a history. So this vehicle was originally conceived back in 2019 is when the very first thoughts came about this vehicle. When Ford Motor Company went and created a clay model of what they thought a Ford Maverick should look like if it had some kind of a wide body kit. And then you fast forward to SEMA show, and there was a custom shop that took a Maverick, they slammed it, put a wide body kit on it, and it blew up. And that's when Ford knew they had a hit with a street rod pickup truck called the Maverick Lobo. And that's when they greenlit the project. Now in this video, we're gonna go through the deep dive on the new Ford Maverick Lobo and show you everything that you need to know about this particular vehicle. And at the end, we're also gonna take it for a quick spin, and it's gonna be epic. But the first thing I wanna talk about is the overall styling, because at the end of the day, the Lobo has got to look the part. You can put, a better transmission or better parts for handling and autocross, but at the end of the day, if it looks like every other one out there, what's the point? And so the first thing you're gonna notice on the new Maverick Lobo is the upgraded grille. I will tell you, this has got some Mad Max vibes going on right here, but I do like the look of the grille. It's just an entertaining style, if you ask me. You'll also notice that for 2025, you've got a brand new front bumper with the brand new headlights. And the Maverick Lobo has also got a redesigned lower part of that front bumper as well. Overall, I think the Lobo absolutely killed the looks. By the way, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you this too. Ford's coming out with an F-150 Lobo, and I think they crushed the front end of that look as well. I'm telling you, man, Ford has figured out there's something to these hot rod street trucks, and I'm excited to show you the rest of this truck. A complete base model of the Maverick starts at $28,000, but the Lobo itself has a starting MSRP of about $35,000. Now, this is not just a normal Maverick Lobo. This is the Maverick Lobo Premium Package. We're gonna cover those details in a second, and that means this thing has an MSRP of about $45,000. But the good news is that if you want one of these things, you don't have to pay the MSRP. You can actually call the phone number on the screen, and if you mention this YouTube video, you can get this Maverick Lobo or order one or pick one out of the lot for invoice pricing automatically. All you have to do, call the number on the screen and mention this video, and it'll automatically qualify you for that invoice pricing. Now let's get back to the options and configuration of this particular truck. And I want to start with something that I absolutely love on the truck is the black painted roof. Now you can really tell a difference because number one, the truck is lowered. And so me being 6'3", I can actually see the whole roof no matter what. Even if I'm walking right up on it or I'm far away, I can see that. But I love the contrasting painted black roof, and keep in mind, it's also got the single panel moonroof built in there as well. But that black painted roof really does a great job of matching up to these wheels. Now there's a couple of different wheels available. Obviously you've got these are 19-inch wheels, and you also have a different type of a wheel that Ford's calling their turbofan style wheel. That's just fun to say, but I do think that I like the way that these look a little bit better, but some people would argue with me. But either way, the tires you're gonna get are Goodyear Wrangler Territory HTs. You have no idea how difficult that was to say. Are wrapped around. These are Goodyear Wrangler Territory HTs. Gonna be Goodyear Wrangler Territory HTs. HTs, yes. Goodyear Wrangler HT Territory.
Screwed up, bro.
On the inside of the Ford Maverick Lobo, you do have an updated interior. I mean, take a look at the stitching that you have here. You have the neon yellow stitching mixed in with the grabber blue. And at first I was like, oh, okay, that's a strong color statement, but it actually matches in with the rest of the vehicle, especially the fact that we're dealing with a blue Maverick to begin with. And on the inside of the seat, you can actually see there's like this blue graffiti style mixed into it. And you've also got Lobo embossed into the seat back. So I do like the way that that looks. And it actually matches in with the blue vents that we have right here. So Ford's done a pretty good job of basically tying all of it together. especially with this specific color of the truck. Now, one thing that's new for the 2025 Maverick, all of them, is this brand new infotainment system. This is the brand new version that Ford is bringing across the board, and every single one of them got this massive touchscreen. Now, what I like about this new version of the touchscreen is that you have the bigger screen. So if we throw it in reverse, you'll see now I've got a full 360-degree camera, so I can see everything behind me. And in addition to that, there's some new technology that you're also picking up, like this Pro Trailer Backup Assist. Yeah, you can also steer the vehicle to where it'll back up the vehicle for you. But how cool is this? If you press the middle button, you can actually have the Maverick back the vehicle up to the trailer. It lines you up to the trailer every single time, so you don't have to worry about making sure that you don't slam into the trailer behind you. It actually will do the driving for you. It's a pretty cool little feature. Now, obviously, it's not picking up that there's a trailer behind us because there's not one right now. But I will say something that I hate about this vehicle, and I just had to experience it, is it took me all of 3 business days to figure out how to turn the air conditioner down inside the vehicle. How do you turn a dadgum? I hate these things on the screen. Got to be kidding me, come on. So you just have to get used to the fact that you have on-screen controls for air conditioning. Not the biggest fan for that. I wish there was the physical dedicated knobs. It's one of the things I love about my Ford Bronco is that there's physical knobs. If I'm driving, I don't have to search for things. I can just flip it and good to go. As I mentioned to you earlier, this is the upgraded version of the Maverick Lobo. They call this the 702A equipment group. Basically what that means is you get a whole lot of options added to the vehicle that you don't get in the normal Lobo. It's nice, you have kind of like a mid package and then a premium package, which is what this one is. And that 702A comes with quite a lot of different options, like the household power outlet plug located right here in the back of the center console. In addition to that, you also have an acoustic windshield. So that way it's actually quieter on the inside of the vehicle when you're driving down the road. Ambient lighting on the inside of the vehicle makes it look a lot nicer at night. I love that look. But my favorite feature, and one of the reasons I'm already hard of hearing at 40 years old, is because of the B&O audio system. You can crank this thing up and it sounds really, really good when you do that. But the other thing is if you and your spouse get really cold, really hot, and nobody can decide what they want to be, you have a dual zone air conditioner temperature. Basically, I can set mine at 60 degrees if I want to. My spouse can set theirs at this temperature, and you're off to the races. Now, there's a lot more included in that package, so I'm just going to put it on the screen, but you get the idea. The 702A package is expensive, but I think it's got a lot of value to it. Now let's talk about the powertrain of the Maverick Lobo, because quite frankly, this is kind of where I was the most underwhelmed and overwhelmed all at the exact same time. Don't worry, I'll explain here in just a second. But first up, let's use the hood prop, which I hate hood props. 25 extra cents could get us some hood struts, but either way, what we're dealing with is a 2.0 EcoBoost 4-cylinder engine. The engine's actually pretty stout from initial driving in this particular vehicle, because you also get an all-wheel drive system that we're going to talk about here in just a second. But the engine is really what was the most underwhelming part of this. I wish that Ford would have given us a hopped up version, maybe a 2.7 EcoBoost or a 3.0 EcoBoost. That would be absolutely nasty, because I've got that same engine in my Bronco Raptor, and this thing would turn into an absolute rocket if Ford would have put that engine in there. So I wish they could have maybe done something different with the engine, but at least they updated the transmission. So what do I mean by that? So automatically on a normal Maverick, you get an 8-speed automatic transmission, but when you step up to the Lobo, you get a 7-speed transmission exclusive to the Lobo. It's supposed to be this quick shift automatic transmission, and it's got the paddle shifters. Yeah. That sounded kind of creepy, didn't it? But hey, anyways, the transmission actually does shift pretty nice, although I don't think I would ever use those paddle shifters, because those paddle shifters are just so tiny and so flimsy. I wish they would have done something similar to what they have in like the F-150 Raptor or the Bronco Raptor, or like our Ford GT, which has got the, the aluminum paddle shifters, which I realize slightly different price point vehicle. I get that, but either way, the automatic transmission is fantastic in this specific unit. But that's not all you get with the Maverick Lobo as far as the powertrain is concerned. You also get some upgraded cooling and upgraded radiators that are pulled directly out of the Maverick 4K towing capability package on other Mavericks. And so you do get more cooling, so that way when you're doing autocross and hauling butt around these corners and these parking lots, you don't have to worry about if this whole system can actually handle that heat. But it's not just about the powertrain and the transmission. There's actually some things done to the steering and to the overall handling of the vehicle that makes one of the biggest differences on the Maverick. And let me show you what I mean. Yes, the Ford engineers did do a lot to help with the steering of the vehicle up in the front, but what you may not realize is that the rear end of this vehicle is what's going to make this thing handle better than any other Maverick on the road. So out back, you have a drive unit that is taken directly out of the Bronco Sport Badlands. This is a torque vectoring system which allows the vehicle to put more power to the outside wheel to basically help power you through those turns. One of the biggest issues you have with autocross is understeer, and you need to make sure you can actually get around. And so what Ford has done is they've given us this upgraded rear end, which will in turn allow you to handle a whole lot better. It's one of the great things that Ford has done on the engineering of this vehicle to make sure that it handles a whole lot better. But there's another way that you can do better handling, and that's also to make sure that the ride height is a whole lot better. And speaking of ride height, Ford has actually lowered the overall vehicle in the front and in the rear. Specifically speaking, the front suspension is down 1/2 of an inch, whereas the rear is down over an inch, 1.12 inches, which basically means that the overall roof of the vehicle is down 0.8 inches. So it's not a big difference from a normal Maverick, but it is a little bit of a difference. But yeah, I would love to see what TC Customs could do to maybe even lower this vehicle even further. Would totally change the overall look of this vehicle. I'm thankful Ford lowered it, but I don't think it was quite enough. There's two more things that Ford Motor Company did to make sure that this Lobo can handle better than any other Maverick on the road. And the first one is going to be stopping, because at the end of the day, if you can't stop what you're driving, it's all for nothing anyways, because you're going to put it into a wall. But you do have an upgraded brake system with a dual piston caliper. But I'll tell you, the last thing that Ford Motor Company did to make sure that this thing can drive as good as possible is actually one of the drive modes. Let me show you what I mean. So when you buy the Maverick Lobo, you actually have a drive mode located right here. When you tap this a couple of different times, you can actually go into a Lobo mode, which is a spirited closed course driving, which I think you'll enjoy. Let's go take it for a spin. Now that I've got it in Lobo mode, not only does it shift out a little bit differently with the transmission and the paddle shifters, but it also reduces the traction control in the vehicle, so that way you can have a little bit more fun. Not too shabby out of a pickup truck. I want to go fast.
I want to go fast. Hey, get him a suit.
We just got to make sure we get the shot, right?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is all for educational purposes only.
All right, ready? Got it. And now, as we're leaving the scene of the crime, thought it would be a good idea to wrap this thing up. Guys, I'm going to tell you, after driving this thing like this, anybody that wants to talk smack about the Maverick Lobo, I instantly got beef with you, because this little truck, for what you get, is not a bad little value. I'm very, very pleased with what Ford has put out. Once again, the only tiny little thing that I wish Ford would have done differently is a little bit more, man, that thing shifted hard. Good gracious. Felt like a kick in the butt. But either way, I think that a little bit more horsepower would go a long way. But then again, based on what I just saw, it's got a pretty decent amount of power. So let me know what you think about the Maverick Lobo down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel with the bell notification turned on so you don't miss a single video. Peace.